So, have you ever had a very busy day and gotten to the end of it and felt like you got nothing done? This has happened to me many times before, and occasionally it still happens, though it was much earlier on in my career. You know, and you have these days where you're in and out of projects, you're answering calls, you're taking emails, you're talking to different people, you got meetings, and you get to the end of it and you're like, I don't even know what I did today. And the problem is what I like to refer to as the whirlwind. It's just the whirlwind of everything that happened that day, and the whirlwind is a part of every single day, and it can just sometimes like pick you up and sweep you off. Not only can it happen to a work day, but it can happen to longer periods of your life, a week, a month. You step back and you're like, I had so many things I wanted to accomplish, but I didn't really get them done. It's because of the whirlwind. And so recently, I did a video about productivity. It was called Supercharge Your Productivity, and it was about 7 different essentials to productivity, and I'd love for you to go check that out. But in the video, I end up referencing a tool that I use every single week, that I live by, that I update frequently. It's called an ideal week. And so today I want to go deeper with that idea of an ideal week. What is an ideal week? It is essentially a schedule of a normal, enjoyable, highly productive week. It's a schedule. That's basically all it is. It's a schedule, but it's you thinking in advance about the type of week you want to have. Now, that does not mean vacation. You're like, oh, I'd love to have vacation. No, it's a normal week. It's an enjoyable week because it's the type of week that you would love to have again and again and again, and it's highly productive. You get a lot done. You take a step back and you realize, like, man, I got a lot done today and I got a lot done this whole week, and I want you to have that kind of week every single week. It is possible. You know, and time is really limited. It's a limited resource, and so we need to be able to take advantage of it. And so what I want to do is I want to share with you 3 steps for creating the most productive week every week. 3 steps for creating the most productive week every single week. And I think this can be really helpful to you. It's been really helpful to me. I want to talk through each of these steps. I want to show you how to do it. And yeah, then we'll talk about just one other thing that I think could be really helpful to you. So the first step is to break down your responsibilities into key tasks. You know, you've got all these different responsibilities, you got to break them down into key tasks. And you probably already do this to some extent. Many people who want to get stuff done, they do this. So they make, you know, to-do lists, you know, or they take a big project and they say, okay, these multiple phases, and in each phase we got to do these things, and this is kind of the order in which we need to do them. And so you probably already do this to some extent. The problem is many people just stop here. They make a to-do list and they just check things off, and it creates this feeling of getting things done because you're seeing something get checked off. You know, and I've done this before myself, where I've thought about the things that I needed to do. I made a list of them, and then I ended up doing some other things that weren't on my list, and I went and put those on my list and checked them off just because it feels good to check things off, right? But this is a little bit different. Taking your responsibilities and breaking them down into key tasks is to think about, what do you do that no one else does or can do, right? This isn't just any given task that you need to do for this particular week. This is big responsibilities broken down into smaller tasks. What do you do that no one else does on your team, or maybe you're a solo person? What are the things that only you can do? That's the first step. The next step is to match your key tasks to your appropriate energy zones. Match your key tasks to your appropriate energy zones. You know, you think again about a list of things you need to do, and you want to manage your time well, and so you might prioritize that list and say, well, I've got to get, you know, these things done, or else, you know, I'll be in trouble. And so you try to manage your time really well. And managing your time is a really good thing. It's a skill. It's something you have to work at. And again, time is a limited resource. But managing your time is good. Managing your energy is so much better. And there's a really simple system for how you can manage your energy. Basically, you think about your energy in any given day from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep at night, and you break those down into three parts: green, yellow, and red. And green is like when you're in your highest energy zone, you know, you're getting things done. Like, it's really great. And green needs to be reserved for your work. Green needs to be reserved for the things that you're the only one who does those on your team, or you're the only one that can do those on your team. And typically your green zone is going to be at the beginning of the day. Typically, I know everybody's a little bit different, and you probably have different sleep patterns that affect all of that. Maybe we'll talk about that in another video. But typically your green zone is going to be at the beginning of the day. And after you've worked for 3 or 4 hours, your energy is going to start to wane. You know how this works. And then you enter your yellow zone. And there's some work that can be done in the yellow zone that's better to be done in the yellow zone than in the green zone. And there's some work that should be done in the green zone that you just can't do as effectively in the yellow zone. So the green zone is for your work. The yellow zone is typically best for collaborative work. It's for collaboration, like meetings or a call, or, you know, some type of a brainstorming session. You know, after you have done your work, the work that only you can do, in the yellow zone, that's really ideal for collaboration. And so you have the green zone, you have the yellow zone, and then you have the red zone. And the red zone is you know, it's really difficult to get some things done. There is some work that you just can't do in the red zone. For me, I write a lot of content. I do not even try to write content in my red zone anymore. I used to try that. It was super frustrating. I could spend, you know, hours and hours in my red zone trying to work on that, and it's just not the same. So, you know, one way that I like to think about it is an hour in your green zone, or even 2 hours in your green zone, is better than 4 hours in your red zone. Does that make sense? So you basically break that system down. So you want to match your key tasks with your appropriate energy level. And I'll show you this even more clearly in just a second how this works. But the third step is to then take those key tasks, take your energy levels, and then build a realistic schedule. I mean, we're creating an ideal week. We want it to be ideal, but it also needs to be realistic. So using a spreadsheet or some type of notepad, you need to lay all of this out. And I like to use a spreadsheet. I might use a legal pad for listing out my key tasks, you know, thinking about my energy level, but I've got to bring it over to a spreadsheet, and I want to show you what that looks like right here. So let's take a look at it, and then we'll wrap up with a few other comments. Okay, so now you're in a blank spreadsheet right here. I love this because there's so many possibilities, and if you feel intimidated at all in a spreadsheet, what I'm about to show you is really simple. Again, it can be done on paper, but I think it's really ideal to do in a spreadsheet. So here we have a blank one, and the first thing that you want to do is you want to lay out on the left-hand side the times of the day. I like to break it down into 30-minute increments. The times of the day, and then across your different columns, you want the days of the week. So it looks something like this. So here's an ideal week. Again, you got your times going down, broken down in 30-minute increments. You know, I've got here from 6 in the morning to 10 at night. You got Sunday through Saturday, and this is primarily for your work. However, you should really take advantage of using this for your personal life as well. And I'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But today's video is as much as anything about productivity. It's about work. So you got this done. The next thing is you want to assign some type of color coding to the types of things that you do. So I'm going to lay this out really simply, and we can go deeper in another video if you want to. So I have 4 that I use. And this is not my ideal week. What I'm about to show you, it's just an example of what yours could look like. But I have a little personal color, I have a family color, I have the work color, and then I have an other one that's just anything else. So you lay that out, and then you want to consider your energy zones. When do you have energy? When are you in your green zone where you are just like humming along? You know, for me, I wake up kind of in my yellow zone. It's a little fuzzy for a little while until I've had some water. I kind of go through a morning routine, and then around 7 or 7:30, I'm in my green zone. I can start writing. I can start planning, strategy, kind of visioning, things like that. And that lasts on a good day for about 4 hours. Like today actually was a pretty good day. I'm recording this in the afternoon. I got a lot of focus work done during that green zone. I'm recording this in my yellow zone now, which I move into that around 11:30 or so. And then about halfway through the afternoon, it probably varies on each day, but just in any given day, I move into my red zone around 3:30, 4, somewhere in there. And again, green is for your work, yellow is for collaboration, and red is to set you up for the next day. So, okay, so here's the energy zone. The next is you want to budget your high return on investment efforts. Okay, those are the things again that only you can do. So let's just assume that you have a typical 8 to 5, 5:30 job with a commute. Okay, so it might look like this. Some of you may work from home, so you don't have a commute. That's great. You can use that time for something else. And others of you may work more of a excuse me, more of a flexible schedule, and that's fine. But okay, this is just traditional work day, and you're going to go ahead and block off in your green zone work that only you can do, and you're going to like have a little do not disturb sign on your door. You're going to put your phone in focus mode. It's do not disturb. And this is your time. You've got to take advantage of this. You want to have a highly productive week every week. This is actually the key to making sure that you are productive every single week. You got to get it done in your green zone, get it done early before it gets taken up with everything else. So then you're going to plan out the rest of your day, and this is really the rest of your yellow and red time. This is collaboration time. This is setup time for the following day. So it might look something like this. And the first thing you'll notice is that in your yellow zone, as you're changing from green to yellow, this is the first time that you are going to pull up email, text, social media, if that's a part of your job, or take any calls. Now, I know that's probably going to be really hard for many of you because it's hard for me. I mean, sometimes just calls come up. But again, you're planning your ideal week. So barring any urgent, or emergency type situations, you've got to avoid communications because they start to eat away at that precious time that you can be productive. So that's maybe around 11:30. You got some appointments, some other prep type stuff in the middle of your day, and then your afternoon is for meetings. You're available to people you work with, either people that you report to or people who report to you or just that you collaborate with, or other just miscellaneous work. Again, this is work that you might not like to be interrupted, or maybe you do like to be interrupted. Maybe you like working in kind of a co-working space or something like that. That's the type of work you want to do then. Then you got some other admin stuff. And again, most of that time, you don't want that to be taken up with email, text, social media, and calls. You've got to find a way to discipline yourself to avoid all of that. And that's in kind of your red zone there. And then finally, one of the last things you're going to do in your red zone is you're setting yourself up for success tomorrow. So you want to prepare for the next day. So you don't want to end your work day like working on a project or working with something right up to the moment. You've got to leave some time at the end of your day to get yourself set up, because that's what makes you really productive the next day in your green zone doing the work that only you can do. So I hope this makes sense. This is just an example. Let me just give you one other tab to show you how you could use this in your personal life, your family life. I like to get up more recently, do my workouts in the morning, so you could do something like that. Maybe you have church, you got some yard work, you got some other rest time, you're volunteer, you got some hobbies, kids soccer practice or whatever, certain home projects, you want to end your day reading, relaxing, whatever it is that you want your week to look like. I mean, go crazy, put it all in here. The main thing is you've got to follow those 3 steps. And I want to walk through those 3 steps with you again real quick, just to make sure you got them. Number 1, break down your responsibilities into key tasks. Number 2, match your key tasks to your appropriate energy zones. And 3, build a realistic schedule. And some of this includes making sure that you got enough margin time between activities. And why am I talking about all this? Because if you don't plan your time, the whirlwind is going to take it over. If you don't value your time, no one else is going to value it either. They are going to leverage your time, which they think if you'll take a call anytime and you'll set up a meeting anytime, that they can have that time. It's theirs to use at their disposal. But if you want to have a highly productive week every single week, you'll take this next step to create an ideal week schedule of enjoyable, highly productive week. And then just a couple other quick tips. And I hope this is all helpful. If it is, please hit the like button. I'd love for you to subscribe. But a couple other tips real quick is to then carry what's in your spreadsheet over to some type of a calendar. If you like a printed calendar, handwritten calendar, that's fine, but you want to make sure you go in and block those times off. Or I use Google Calendar, bring it over to Google Calendar, set it with notifications so that when you transition from one project to the next, from your green to your yellow zone or your yellow to your red zone, you get a little notification that says, hey, it's time to transition, and you can make sure to stay on task. The next tip is you want to be able to share this with people in your life that need to know, especially a spouse who might need to know, share it with a boss or with people who report to you so they know when you are available, when they can contact you, like when they can expect a response. And all of this, because life has different seasons and things change, you want to be able to evaluate this. You want to be able to come back and revise this. And for me, I will revise mine at least every 2 to 3 months, just because, things change. I have kids, their schedules change, and so kind of adapt to it. But this is one of the ways to have the most productive week every single week. It's to build an ideal week schedule, and I hope that you will try it out. But one more thing, I just want to talk with you. Let's just kind of put all of that aside for just a second. I want to caution you and just remind you just how short life is. And if you're watching this video because you want to be more productive, that's awesome. I believe you were created to be productive like that. But we can create almost like this unhealthy culture, an unhealthy relationship with work, where we just want to be more and more productive. And you really have to ask why that is. Is it because you want more money? That's fine. Money, you need money. That's good. But money will not bring you lasting happiness. Do you want to be productive because you want to build this great legacy and all that? Legacy is great, but legacy will not bring you lasting happiness. You have this idea of work. You want to accomplish a lot of stuff. That's awesome. But those accomplishments will not give you the meaning in life that you really want. Those are things that you want, and we often pursue those things that we want, and we lose sight of what it is that we really want. And so many people in life, myself included, have pursued those things and have come up short and have regretted pursuing those things at the cost of other things. So lasting happiness comes from pursuing the things that you really want. And the only way that you can get the things that you really want is to get right with the one who created you. That is God. And one day, God is going to come and you're going to give an account for your life, and I'm going to give an account for my life. And he's going to ask us about, hey, this is how I designed the world, and how did you live within that design? And all the things that we have done wrong in our life, we're going to be held accountable for those things. And I'm telling you this because it's so important. I know you clicked a video about being highly productive, and I'm now talking about things much deeper. So this may be really deep for you, or maybe something that you don't think about, and that's why I want to bring it up. I want to help you get what you really want. And money and work and high productivity, those are good things. They just won't give you what you really want. The only thing that really can is a relationship with Jesus, as He can bring true happiness. He can give you true hope for the next life. And when you have that, like when you really have that, when you find what you really want, it actually makes everything else better. It gives a sense of meaning to everything you do during the day. It can actually make you want to be more productive just now for the right reasons. And so anyway, I'd love to talk with you about Jesus because He's changed my life and it's continued to change my life. And if you want to talk about that, just go to HoustonOliver.com. click on the tab that says Jesus, and we could have a little Zoom one-on-one conversation about it. I'd love to meet you, love to hear your story. And again, if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.